Okay, alright gamers, I think we're back. I didn't do anything particularly crazy or particularly advanced, but we'll see. I'll give people another minute or two to filter in, and I'll be staring at my OBS panel at that time. We may be back. Hopefully it's not over. Yeah, my internet is through a wired connection, so it's inherently a little more stable than wireless. But the wired connection hooks to a power line adapter, and then the power line adapter goes down to the main floor of the house where it plugs into the modem. So there are a few fuzzy points or like interference points, even though it is technically like more stable. This is an old house that has like brick foundations and brick walls and everything, so adding space for Ethernet cables is not always practical. Anyway, there are, yeah, so YouTube's lying to me again. It says 0 concurrent viewers. I know there are at least 2 of you here. Oh. Concurrent viewers 3. I see. Alright, whatever. So, this is going to be the round that determines whether or not Haaken is capable of turning this into a one-game thing, or if he's still playing against Zadi. Zadi taking a small hit here, not blocking low or not fuzzying properly. Ooh, yeah, normal hit 6B. Sorry, we're not real. We're back. You can't both be true. One of you will speak in unpleasant truths, and the other speaker will speak in sweet-sounding lies. Oh, that is, man. Yeah, Zadi has to burst there. Makes sense. It's crazy how much they're both willing to play the ground game. Wow. No, you fool. No! Wow, this is so much spaghetti. Banner revolver back to the middle of the screen. Ooh, sweet, but no confirm. Zadi keeping his combo super burst safe there. He did rising jump S into neutral double jump S. That is like preeminent burst safety. Very good awareness to get that throw and then keep that combo extra super burst safe. Suggestion about the audio stream's current bitrate. My audio stream? Shut up. The audio is the one thing that's been consistent and stable in this whole mess. Alright. Haaken and never YOLO Grand Vipers, he's a real one. Yeah, that's true. Haaken's respectful to a fault, I think. Like, I think that this is a matchup where Soul should be a little more disrespectful. But Haaken just is such a polite guy, he's gonna play footsies against Raven and run into 2S. Oh no. Ooh, nice. I have to say, as cool as it is, there is something that I find extremely... Oh god. Never mind. I was going to talk about, like, combo feel and tilt and other stuff, but, like, whatever. Oh my god. Run up DP. He did it. He finally did it. Yeah. And these are the rounds that you dread as Raven. Where Soul is just running at you like a fucking monkey, and you have to live in fear of all the stuff he can do. Nice IB. And he's gonna do needle here? Yeah, makes sense. Nice. Yeah, 6K is very active, so it covers the backdash there. My god. You can tell they're both really, really tired from playing all this, because like they're dropping really easy confirms. Or like counter hit, really easy counter hit confirms, I should say. Spends a bit of... So that 5k forced Zadi to spend a little bit of meter. And that's kind of a victory if you're playing Soul. Oh, yeah. Hard burst bait. That might have been a missed input, actually. That's like what I do when I miss an input. I'm trying to do the close slash 2-hit, like the close S 7H burst OS. Ooh. Nice. There's, it's like, because of the way that multi-hit jump cancelable moves, or sorry, multi-hit jump cancelable and Gatling cancelable moves work in this game, there's a thing you can do as Raven where you input a back jump on the second hit of close S, and if the burst comes out on the first hit of close S, then you still have the opportunity to jump, so the jump cancel takes priority. What willingness from Haaken to mash sweep. Ooh, Gunflame starter. That's actually quite a lot of damage. But he's not going to die here, Raven Guts. Zadi being really patient because he knows any counter hit is going to be like that. Any counter hit is going to be like that. It's kind of a pain to do, like, meaningful pressure against a character like Soul when he has all that meter, because at any point he can just choose to do, like, Tyrant Rave or Volcanic Viper RRC, more likely. Hey, you know, I haven't talked shit about Strive in a while. You know, something that really bugs me about that game is that they removed Dragon Punch Row and Cancel from that game because people whined about it. And I think that just is... that's a bit of a shame. Because there are lots of games that have Dragon Punch Row and Cancel that just leave it and never, like, patch it out, but fucking Guilty Gear of all things is so much of a fucking strike throw medium kick shimmy game. Sorry, strike throw shimmy medium kick game that they removed DPRC because it was like too good. That's a bit of a shame, I think. Oh my god, he wanted the throw, and it actually would have worked if he'd done his inputs properly. Oh yeah? Yeah. Oh my god, they're both just dancing on each other. Something I'm almost never seeing Zadi do throughout this whole set is the 2k 5p Gatling. Oh god, round's over, sorry. Put your life bar in the bag, the round's over. Okay, Zadi willing to burst. He's got a lot of meter, it makes sense. That's another great example of the visuals on Gunflame being kind of deceptive. You'd think Raven would be getting hit here, but because the pillar is in this location, the hitbox is actually slightly behind it, so by the time Zadi goes to jump back again, the hitbox hasn't come out. Really funny. 2H? Alright. Nice, actually. Zadi, you're a genius. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. Hmm? Ooh, that was cool, actually. Soul's ability to make you feel like an idiot is unparalleled. Every counter hit Fafnir or 6H make you feel like shit. Very true. Very true. Oh god. Okay. No! Even back in 2018, people were not doing optimized danger time combos. That's a shame. Nice, and he gets that juicy-ass combo. Oh, this is so good. Yeah, not go into super, because that won't kill, but you do get the Oki here. Nice. Yeah, willingness to hold the blitz there. Anti-air grab. This isn't going to kill because of the damage scaling on the Roman cancel. Yeah. Nobody has any meter now, but Raven does have that excitement. There you go. It's hard to optimize danger time when everybody shits on a mechanic instead of trying to actually understand it. Danger time is very simple. It's a forced counter hit and a red Roman cancel. It's the simplest thing in the world. I've always liked danger time. I thought danger time was fun back in the day. Because it's like, you get to see it coming. It doesn't just randomly like happen instantly. You get to see it. And it requires a clash, so both players had to commit to something. You know. I remember back in like the early days of Xrd, like even before I started, there was people would get danger time clashes on the ground, and people thought Potemkin was like unbeatable because you could buffer Pot Buster, and it would beat anything. So in order to defend against that, you had to buffer FD for 1 frame and then hold jump. Danger time is cool, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. It's true. Like, people have come around on it, but I feel like the appreciation for danger time these days is very insincere, and it's mostly just people like Zoomers looking back at a game that they don't play and don't understand, and being like, "Wow, this mechanic is so crazy. Y'all are so crazy. That's crazy. That's nuts." Yeah. Like, that is a Vismond, you were talking earlier, that, like, soul blocking for 10 seconds in a Fafnir is, like, prime, man, I'm a fucking idiot gameplay. Like, you feel like such an idiot for getting hit by that. Ooh. Oh, okay, RC? Yeah, nice. And he doesn't throw, makes sense. Or he doesn't combo off the throw, makes sense. Nice combo, nice catch on the backdash, by the way. And you can see, like, there's some method as to why Zadi is doing the jump D into needle OTG, because it actually does control the corner pretty well, simply because Soul cannot fucking move fast enough to get out of the corner. Wait, this has been more timeouts, or threats of timeouts, than I've seen in a very long time playing this game. Nice! Nice! Fucking Riot Stomp! We go back to the well. We go back to the day one scrubbery from Soul Bad Guy, just mashing the fuck out of Riot Stomp. And we take Zadi's mindless panic burst. Oh god. On AD jump K, yeah, he does not miss those. Alright, cool, guess. Yeah. Oh, he's trying to do reversal stance. He got counter hit out of startup by 2P. Raven actually had scratch loops in this version of the game. I'm surprised to see Zadi not go for that. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, you're done. You're done. Ooh. That was final score 10-8, which is very even. And we had a very, very even, very prolonged set. I think Zadi's cooked. He's just not taking that mental damage. If that happened to me, I would just go shake his hand. Absolutely. Like, if that happened to me, like, you just got outplayed, man. Like, fair enough. We played 18 games, and I won 8 of them. Like, that's a pretty good fucking record. You should be proud of that. Oh, we're Danger Time. We're talking about Danger Time. Not hard, just that most players still to this day think it's completely random. Experimental, sure, but not random. You can prepare for it. I agree, yeah. I don't really like Danger Time, but it's not the worst mechanic in Guilty Gear history. That's correct. Controversial opinion, the worst mechanic... Well, not the worst mechanic. The worst mechanic in Guilty Gear history is probably force breaks. Most people won't agree with that. I think that's true. I will not elaborate on that. Yeah. I wish I could understand what Zadi is saying. I'm sure he's being very respectful and very polite. God, it's been like 2 hours. It's been like an hour 40, hasn't it? Yeah. Well, I certainly don't have time to do a lobby after this, and I don't think there's a ton to cover afterwards either. You don't think unlimited meter under 50% health was the worst? All I'm gonna say is that I think it's Strive Wall Break. Arguably, that's true. That might be the worst, honestly. I don't even consider Strive a Guilty Gear game, but you got a point. Yamashugami, you don't think unlimited meter under 50% was the worst? That's like shitty in a fun way, though. Like Desperation Supers are fun. Like they're not good, but they are fun. I don't agree on that, but you do you, I suppose. Fair enough. Strive's Wall Break is not the worst Guilty Gear mechanic, it's the worst fighting game mechanic instead. That's true. That's not controversial, but it is brave. And it is true. I can't think of a mechanic I hate more than Strive's Wall. Or that has more ripple effects than Strive's Wall. I instantly lost all interest in Arxis' Marvel game when they brought that wall break shit back. Hey, they actually iterated on it. It's really funny. Fucking, Strive has wall breaks, and then Marvel Tokon has wall breaks too, but they're actually more interesting than Strive because you can choose, or not because you can choose, you unlock one of your additional characters by doing the wall break, so there's actually a reason to do it. It's not just a nerf to your combos. Centurion, isn't it optional in the Marvel game? It is not optional. It's just that some stages have a certain number of walls. So like every Strive stage is fully circular and infinite, but in Marvel there are stages of varying sizes. So like the X Mansion stage is one screen with no walls. So you can't use wall breaks to acquire new team members. You have to do other things. But some of the stages are like 3 screens wide. So you start in the middle, and if you wall break towards player 1 side, then the next corner combo on player 1 side will just be a flat regular wall. So like I remember, and like very early on in Strive, people were theorizing that Strive's Okizeme would, or Strive's wall would work like that. But it ended up not working like that, sadly, and it's just infinite all the way around because corner control is boring, I guess. Centurion, when do you think they will make a new Guilty Gear game, and do you think it's just going to be an updated Strive? I think it's probably just going to be an updated Strive. I think that because Daisuke was no longer the creative director on Strive, it's a typical tale of corporate meddling, I guess, like Japanese corporate stuff, where there's like a vision for something and it lasts a little bit, and then they change the vision, and normally, as this tale goes, like Strive would just like kill the series and it would just go dormant for 20 years. But in this case, Strive has been the biggest runaway financial success that the Guilty Gear has ever seen. So I think they're probably just going to keep making Strive until the end of time, and people are just going to eat it up because it has that cultural momentum. I mean, you die on the second wall break anyway. That's not entirely true. I've sometimes seen people die on the... I've sometimes seen Potemkin and Gold Lewis survive 2 wall breaks and then die on the 3rd. Or you die in the middle of the screen because Gold Lewis is looping Behemoth Typhoons into themselves and like crossing you up 5 times. They have every intention of making an updated Strive. They even stated that in one of their backyard things. Yeah, so like I think Strive 2.0 is going to be the new Strive that they're just going to release as like a single updated game or a single product that they try to direct people towards. Strive got the artificial COVID buff, so I think the next Guilty Gear is going to crash hard. I think that's probably true. And it's only because the stars aligned for its release date. I think that's true as well. Like, I like to put it that Strive is like the PlayStation 4 of fighting games, in that objectively, like, it's at best, it's like inoffensive, but it released at a time when it had zero competition and a captive market, so therefore it won harder than like basically anything. They actually advertise Strive in the West as well. That's true. They realized that their super sick anime game that has like the coolest fucking visuals ever would actually be something that Westerners want to buy. Crazy idea. So they actually told people that it existed. I can't blame them for... Strive got the COVID buff plus Tekken and SF5 refugees, making it way bigger than anybody expected. Were people moving away from Tekken at that time? Because it released in 2021, and I think people were still playing Tekken at the time. And I don't think there's a lot of people who play Tekken that would enjoy anime games. Gaster, for me, I just believe that Strive doesn't exist. True. It'll get released after Dragon Ball Fighters 2, and that, but Arc System works on the map. Yes, that's another thing. I think an unspoken forerunning factor to why Strive released the way it did is that Arc System Works had made enormous amounts of money making like simple licensed games like a Grand Blue and Dragon Ball Fighters for existing IPs that were like 3-button really simple games. So I think there was probably some corporate accounting pressure to make Guilty Gear like that because they knew that Guilty Gear was good in that manner. Late Stage Tekken 7 got real rough. Tekken players only play Tekken even when it's bad. Tekken was still huge, but it was sort of dwindling after 2021. I think all three of those statements are true. Like, even with what's happening in Tekken 8, Tekken players are still just like beaten Cocker Spaniels, and they just will not play anything other than Tekken. Like, you go play Virtua Fighter, work on their like actual interesting mix and pressure, mind games and shit, but no. They could run brackets offline for Tekken 5 and Tekken 6 and whatever, but no. Whatever. Too many people in the FGC who don't want to be happy. People used to say that about Street Fighter players, and people still left during 5. That's an interesting thing, though, because, like, prior to Street Fighter 4, like, Street Fighter is weird because it like defined the arcade era and defined fighting games for a lot of people, and then it just went off the map for like 10 years, and then it came back and it was like the fighting game, and then it had a sequel that completely shit the bed. And like it's kind of weird because I feel like the idea that Street Fighter players are just like slavishly loyal to Street Fighter came about just because Street Fighter 4 was the only fighting game that you needed to play if you wanted to play like a million billion people and have infinite matchups and infinite ranked queuing times. Or sorry, infinite like ranked matches. Like, if you didn't want to put in the effort to find a community and interact with the community, Street Fighter was the way to do that. And then when Street Fighter 5 came out, it turned out that only playing one game was like not an amazing idea, so people actually branched out. And Street Fighter 6 came out, and it turns out you can get away with only playing one game if it's the only game that's functional. Gaster, speaking of Tekken, is Tekken over after the director quit? Harada. To be honest, I think that Harada quitting is just sort of like the final... It's like the punctuation at the end of a sentence, and the sentence was, Tekken is going to be some nonsense from now on. Please look forward to it. Because like Tekken has had systemic problems for a while, but it's weird because there was that, I don't want to call it the dark age, but there was that gap in fighting games from like the mid to late 2000s to like 2015, like late 2010s, when a lot of fighting games just stopped making entries. Like, Virtua Fighter just stopped making games, and Dead or Alive just stopped making games. And Tekken also just stopped making games, which is so bizarre. Because Tekken 6 sold well, and Tekken Tag 2, which was mostly like a lot of assets reused from Tekken 6, you know, it was a financial failure, but it still moved like 1.5 million units. Yeah, Fighting Game Dark Age was 99 to 2009. Sorry, I'm not talking about that or they didn't. Yeah, sorry. I'm not talking about the like that. Like that's the Capcom Dark Age. That's what most people talk about. I'm talking about more like the slow dwindling of certain games, like 3D games that happened in like the later half of the 2000s. I'm actually going to look up the dates on some of these things so I learn whether or not I'm an idiot. Yeah, so like if you look at Dead or Alive specifically, Dead or Alive 3 was in 2001, Dead or Alive 4 was 2005, and then Dead or Alive 5 was 2012. Dead or Alive 6 came out 2019, and it had all the pomp and circumstance of, I mean, it had like no fanfare basically. It just died immediately. Um, and what was Soul Calibur? That was the other one I wanted to say. Okay. So if you look at like yeah, so Soul Calibur 2, the best fighting game ever made, that isn't Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2, was 2002. Soul Calibur 3 was 2005. Soul Calibur 4 was 2008. Soul Calibur 5 was 2012. And then it was just like spin-off games until 2018 when Soul Calibur 6 came out, which also died almost immediately because it was obviously rushed. Because why the fuck would? Because like from the perspective of Bamco, why the fuck would you put out something that was competing with Tekken 7 and actually put money into it? Like that's what I mean mostly. Like it feels like a lot of fighting games just stopped being made during the 2010s, and it wasn't until like Street Fighter 5 came out and was so shitty that like the critical mass of Street Fighter players were sort of like forced to go elsewhere, that a lot of other games just became infused with that critical mass of new blood. And then when Street Fighter 6 came out, it's like, oh, this is a fighting game. We'll just play this. And people just sort of get sucked up into it. I just feel like people tend to congregate around really like one or two individual games at any point in the FGC. And it's only the people who have like fucked up, it's only like really like the weird bullshit anime players who regularly play like 3 or 4 games. Like the people who run Melty Blood on a fucking laptop at 59 FPS and who could tell you how to do optimal B&Bs in fucking Eternal Fighter Zero. The fucking what's the Toho fighting game? So Hisoten Soku. And who play like Umineko Golden Fantasia or fucking Arm Joe or something. Like those people, like they're used to scraps, so they take what they can get. But I think among like popular fighting game series, there's the tendency to want to only play the popular thing, even if the popular thing is not good or not going in a direction that you like. That's my perspective. Or the guys who play 15 fighting games on Fightcade. Those guys are pretty cool too. Those guys who actually like play the Fatal Fury games instead of just talking about how cool Fatal Fury is. Those guys are cool. Gaster, I feel like Tekken after Tag 2 or 6 is like the last good Tekken. Oh, like Tag 2 or 6 was the last good Tekken? I have the radical opinion. Well, it's not a radical opinion. I have a really low opinion of Tekken. So to me, like Tekken, quote unquote, was never good. But as far as like, as far as Tekken being like good, I think Tekken 6 was probably like the last good thing that really embodied what people say they like about Tekken, which is spacing and whiff punishes and stuff. Like Tekken 6 had like long combos in that they lasted for like 6 seconds because of the bound system. And then they just like increased that with Tekken 7. And it's like, oh, okay, great. Tekken 7 looks worse than Tag 2. Correct. Absolutely correct, yes. Guzman, I like Tekken aesthetically, so for me it peaked on the PlayStation 2. Are you a fellow Tekken 4 supremacist? I think Tekken peaked in 4, and I don't give a shit that it has quote-unquote bad gameplay. To me, the best move in a game being that a jab is a good thing, actually. And I know that it's like bad, or like because Steve has like broken jabs and Jin has broken jabs and it makes the game boring, but I don't care. I'm not a fan of the direction of Tekken, and honestly most 3D games where they just add dozens of moves to every character. It could just be my 2D fighting game roots coming in to make that statement, though. Because in 2D games, like, the moves might be really super bullshit, but you only have like 20 per character, and that's it. And that's even with Guilty Gear. Like, with Guilty Gear, it's 5 standing normals, 5 crouching normals, 5 air normals, and then like 5-ish commando normals per character. Plus, like, you know, 8 special moves, maybe. So it's like sub 30 moves per character. 30 moves is like your character's jab strings in a Tekken game. Anyway, that's... I guess we had an informal discussions session at the end of this, which was pretty fun. But this has been a very long stream, and it's been semi-plagued by technical issues. So I'm going to sign off for now, and I will get to editing these. I'm just not interested in Tekken in general. Me too, man. Me too. I wish Soul Calibur came back. I wish Soul Calibur had figured out what the fuck to do after Soul Calibur 2. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, thank you for tuning in. This was a great match. Haaken's godlike, Zadi's godlike. The matchup's fun. Yeah. Let me check what the next thing is going to be. The next set is going to be Faust versus Ino, which is going to be Nage playing Faust versus Turio playing Ino. That's going to be fascinating. Because this matchup is pretty fucking good for Faust. But I think a character who plays like a clinical style like Turio is going to have a lot of opportunities that other Inos wouldn't. I'm very interested to see how that turns out, because I don't actually remember that at all from the last time I went through these. It's, by the way, the OBS thing. Yes, you can leave a comment on my video or on my YouTube, or on one of my community posts. I should be able to read that. You might need to speak in code. I will also look into it myself. He said he would change the config option to make OBS less sensitive to bandwidth changes. Yeah, that. Okay, right. I will look that up on my own. I'll find some guides. And then I will have to rewrite everything in my own words, because that's the only way I remember anything. Anyway, that'll actually be it for today. This is a really long stream. This is like 2 hours plus all the technical difficulties, with all the technical difficulties. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I will see you next week. It'll be Faust versus Ino. Looking forward to that. And that's actually getting towards the end of all of this. That's the second to last video. So minor spoilers. It'll be Faust versus Ino, Johnny versus Faust, and then we have the grand like finals thing, which is going to be a double header. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for bearing with me. I love all of you. I'll see you all next week.